That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Comic Reviews. I'm Sid Part 2, and we have a lot to get through today, including a trade. So let's not waste too much time, but I just want to say, Steve and I have started a monthly wrap-up series on his channel. You can go here and watch a video of it. We just talk about the best books from each week of the month. And let me say, spoilers for August, it's going to be a hard-ass choice for the first week. God, there are so many good books today, so let's go ahead and get right into it. We'll start off with the last thing I read, which is Predator vs. Judge Dredd vs. Aliens. There's a lot of animosity and fighting going on in the fictional character community as of late. We had Batman vs. Superman, we had Civil War, now we have Judge Dredd versus Aliens versus Predators, or however you want to say that. So let me say, not the biggest Dredd fan. I don't really, it's nothing wrong with it, I just don't care. It's just not my character, not my universe kind of thing. And I kind of knew, I was a little iffy on whether or not I was going to pick this up, but with how much I really didn't care for Predator Life and Death, I wanted to give Predator Comics another shot. And so I was a little iffy on whether or not I wanted to pick this up, given that it was Dredd, and I knew if you're going to do Alien vs. Predator vs. Dredd, you're going to put the aliens and the Predators in Dredd's world. And so I was like, alright, I'll give it a shot. Now, this is well written. It's just in such a weird universe. And I know very little about Dredd. Most of what I know about Dredd comes from the Dredd movie. So I really was not prepared for what exactly I was going to be getting into, or if this is even really reflective of Dredd's universe. But I'll give you a page to look at, and this is a large panel on the 1, 2, 3, 4th page. That's a rhinoceros person, and there's a gorilla man and a wolf man, and a raccoon man. I like the raccoon man the most. I didn't notice him when I was reading it. And then there's a deer man and an alligator man. And then there's Dredd. So, like, I really just was not expecting that at all. Like, it feels very Batman Beyond. They even used the word splice a couple times in this story. And I don't know if that's, like, a common thing in the Dreddverse. It certainly doesn't seem like it. So how's this working out? Okay, you had somehow alien xenomorphs got onto Dredd's world, and there's this guy who does experiments with DNA, making people and animal hybrids. He has a xenomorph, and then the Predator crash lands and is captured, but he sends out a distress beacon, so more Predators show up at the end of this book. And Dredd and Judges are chasing a character called Archbishop Emoji, whose followers have emojis branded into their bald foreheads. And Archbishop Emoji looks like that. So I don't know how well any of the... And he's heading off into the swamplands where this scientist lives, so that's how we're getting everyone to come together, because Dredd's pursuing. I don't know how much this all lines up with your typical Judge Dredd universe, but it's fucking nuts, right? I mean, that entire synopsis of this issue is fucking batshit. I don't know if it's good or bad batshit yet, but it is undeniably batshit crazy. So yeah, the evil scientist has apparently crossbred himself with a spider. So yeah, there's that. I don't know. Man, I really don't know if this is going to be good or fun or stupid or annoying or bad. I really don't know what's going to happen with this. But we'll keep reading and we'll see how it goes. I did add it to my poll. I was like, alright, you know what? We'll give Predator another shot. Not super in love with it, but what I'm not in love with is the Judge Dredd, like, weird-ass tone of it. So we'll just see what happens as this continues. Let's go ahead and go on to the next book of the week, which I fucking adored, and it is Torchwood. This is fantastic. I forgot to do my clap. This is fantastic. Oh man, this is so good. Alright, so this is written by John and Carol, C-A-R-O-L-E. I think that's how it's pronounced. Carol Barrowman. Brother and sister. John Barrowman, of course, famously played Captain Jack Harkness in Doctor Who and got his spin-off series Torchwood, which, when it was good, it was great. When it was bad, it was laughably ridiculous and at times painful. So Torchwood was a very mixed bag of a series, but it was just very interesting to see them do a very decidedly adult sci-fi series. And so what's going to happen with this book? Well, I'll give you an exchange of dialogue that, if you like Captain Jack Harkness, should be very reassuring for you. You promised no more spying in our cabins. Then stop giving her something to watch. You're just jealous. Got that right. And then Captain Jack, plenty for everyone. Oh, Jack and your pansexual promiscuity, how I've missed you. Yeah, I love Captain Jack because, like, initially he was introduced as this, like, clever, sexy ladies' man. And then, like, there's the reversal of expectations with, oh, he's actually not just a straight guy that's, you know, time traveler, swashbuckling kind of looking dude. He's bi. And then the Doctor, like, immediately shot that down in Jack's second episode, whatever, first story. Doctor immediately shut that down and said, no, you humans, you aren't picky. You go out, start exploring the stars, and start sticking your dick in anything that moves. And that's what Captain Jack is. Captain Jack doesn't give a fuck. As long as it's got a pulse and is of age, he will do it. And that is great. He is a fantastically fun character to just see all of that completely wiped away. Now, if you've watched the Torchwood series, there will be stuff in here that you will recognize. There's Captain John Hart, who is like Jack's rival, former lover kind of thing, all wrapped into one. Can we get a Star Trek TOS and Torchwood crossover? Is that a thing that we can get? Because I'd love to see Kirk and Jack. You know, there's my shipping. Kirk and Jack. Make it happen, internet. Anyway, hashtag Kirk and Jack. Yeah, so we got Gwen back, and Gwen was the one part of Torchwood that kind of annoyed me. I just never really cared for Gwen, and of course she is in everything that is Torchwood. So there was no getting around that. I knew, like, she's on the cover. I knew as soon as I was getting into this, Gwen would be a part of it. Gwen basically fills the role of being the most normal of everybody. She's, like, very open-minded and accepting and everything, but she is just the most basically normal, in that she's, you know, white, English, or Scottish, Welsh. She's Welsh. White, Welsh, wife, mother, you know, she's very, very, like, the most middle-of-the-road kind of character you can imagine, but she's also kind of a badass, kind of, very, very welcoming and accepting person. And I just, like, that's all fine. I understand why there'd be a need to have that character that, you know, normals can connect to. But But I don't know. I never liked her nearly as much as I did some of the other characters, particularly Owen. Owen was fascinating, and I don't understand how they killed him, but they did. And so I guess this video is turning into more of a review of Torchwood. But let me just say, this book is great. I don't really want to give too much away about it, though. And not that a lot happens in it, but it's a really good first issue because it introduces you to a bunch of the characters we're going to be dealing with. It's very much in the tone of Torchwood, particularly the first season. And Torchwood had this really interesting curve of being either like kind of just really ridiculously silly but still on an adult level interesting, or being just fucking dark as shit. Hashtag children of Earth. But this gets the ridiculously silly very first season Torchwood, wherein we have this panel of a UFO dropping ninjas on flying jet skis. And there's a little text thing that says, "Ninjas on flying jet skis. Must be Tuesday." That's like so perfectly to my style of humor that I just absolutely adore it. It reminds me of possibly my favorite internet comment I ever read. Someone had posted the video of the scene from The Shining where the elevator doors open and all the blood like flows out, and someone in the comments left, "Huh, that's weird. Blood usually gets out on the 4th floor." And this is that exact same style of humor that just really, really gets me. And this is, oh man, this is so good. It's got a sassy AI robot. And Captain Jack doesn't even really say that much in this book, even though Barrowman is one of the people writing it with his sister, who's apparently a lit critic. I looked up a little information on her because I was, you know, the last name being the same, I was sure that they had something in common, but I know John Barrowman is gay, so it's not his wife. But yeah, this is just, wow, this looks great. I'm really excited to keep reading this. This looks goddamn fantastic. Only thing is I really, really hope I get this cover, because that is a cool fucking cover for next month. Just everything about this is great. I loved this book. I'm really curious to see where it goes. It's all set up, but I don't care because it's just fascinating. Okay, throw you in, now we're in this shit kind of setup, and you're gonna have to deal with it. And it's just, that's great. That's great. It's not set up as in, oh, we're having this little thing happen in this issue, and then next issue we're having this little development happen, and we're gonna slowly seed the story as we go. No, this is like, okay, here's your setup, here's all the characters, now the shit storm just started. What are you gonna do? And that's great. I'm really excited to keep reading this. The characters all seem really fun. I'm a little disappointed that they seem to be more or less ignoring Miracle Day. They mention it, but Miracle Day obviously was not very popular, and it's the reason that we haven't gotten Torchwood. I'm definitely on two minds about Miracle Day, but I would have liked for it to be acknowledged a little bit more than it is in here, so that's kind of disappointing. But we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to keep reading that book. Okay, let's move on to DC Comics Bombshells, number 16. And yeah, like I said, it's going to be a really, really tough decision next month as to which book to pick, because everything this month was either good or great. Like, do I agree with that? I mean, even Judge Dredd, I didn't love it, but it was still really fascinating, and I'm excited to keep reading it. Yeah. Everything I have this week, none of it's bad. It's just either good or great, so it's going to be a really hard week. Do I even want to explain? Okay, we get two stories. We get two stories that are themselves broken up into like 6 stories total, because there's stories within stories here. So we have, like, Helena Huntress giving us her backstory. And she is a German girl living in Nazi Germany. She is German. She's not Jewish or anything like that. She's a member of the Swing Kids. And she talks about why she's fighting. We learn math and how many lives unworthy of life must end to make a humane world. We learn science and racial purity and which people are better than others. We learn history and how we are the greatest nation to ever exist and how everyone else is jealous and wants to steal our resources, our freedoms, our women. I can't make this up, guys. That is both a perfect summation of Nazi Germany and things that Trump has talked about. I'm not drawing connections out of nowhere. This is not exaggeration. This is fascism. So once again, if you're a Trump supporter, why the fuck are you watching my videos? But if you're a Trump supporter, fuck you. And now, finally, if you're a Trump supporter, what are you reading in comics right now? I have no idea how you could possibly be enjoying comic books right now. Because all of the best things are just giving you a middle finger. So really, I have no idea what you're doing with your life right now if you're a comic fan and a Trump supporter. Just, what are you doing with your life? So yeah, there's a lot of great stuff with that. We get the reason that she's fighting. I can't help what the side on which I was born. So let me give you the weapons that were given to me. I don't want to be an old woman, and when my grandchildren ask me what I did, I don't want to say, I kept my head down. You build and create the world you live in. Youth is no excuse. God damn. God damn. And then we get some more backstory on Batwoman. Also tragic and really like, wow, but not nearly as well done as Huntress. I don't know how you could have topped it, so what can you do? And then we get more stuff with Mira and Arthur, and her stuff is really starting to go, and you know, we're getting some interesting things with her backstory, with how she got to where she is, and you know, Atlantean politics are always, they're not always interesting, but they're always different and crazy. And this is interesting. Very Game of Thrones moment in this book. I won't spoil that one because it is pretty good. And I was legitimately surprised by the reveal. It looks like Mira has kind of just traded place with Arthur as far as, you know, the evil sibling that is ruling Atlantis. So it's her sister now. And there's just shit going down. And then again, there's this talk of sitting on the sidelines. It's Mira's sister talking here. I spoke no treason. I never harmed another. I did no evil. And then Mira. But you let evil be done. You knew what Nereus was, and you did not stop him from allying your home with the Tenebar. Yes, I let Nereus rule. His choices were what ruined Atlantis. If I tried and I failed and disaster struck, what kind of queen would I be? I was happy as Nereus's bride alone, and he was so happy to rule, so why interfere? How dare you blame me for not solving all the evils of the world? You were not blameless. You chose your silence. You had power. You had influence. You were the sovereign monarch, not he. You let yourself be taken out of the story so that you would bear no responsibility. Act in times of crisis, Hilla. Always, always act. You did no evil, sister, but you did no good. And to have attempted, to have tried and failed, that shall make a soul more worthy than all the silence in the world. I don't know what else to add to that besides that it's fucking genius and is fantastically tying into what Helena was talking about earlier in the book. So really great job on that. But also, just, I talk about all the great stuff that this book is doing to show Nazism, to show fascism, and to just take something that was... I keep coming back to this. But DC Bombshells, like the character designs and stuff, it was fun. Just a little bit on the, okay, that's a little much, but if you're just doing it for fun, whatever, no big deal. And just on the whole Bombshells art thing. But to then have it be one of, if not the best book DC's been putting out for the last year... That's amazing that they turned it around that well. So, this book is incredibly intelligent. This book looks fucking gorgeous and sexy. Just look at that cover. Come on now. Right? Look at that cover. Look at that cover. She's flicking me off. She's unhappy with the fact that I find a character that is meant to be drawn sexily. She's all upset. But also, this book is just, really fucking cool at times. It just gives you, like little things here and there. I'm like, that's a really fucking cool idea. And so, you want to see a really fucking cool idea? Gigantic cybernetic anglerfish. I want a gigantic cybernetic anglerfish. Harry, can we have a gigantic cybernetic anglerfish? That's a middle finger. That's not a gigantic cybernetic anglerfish. I'm sad now. I'm not really sad. A little sad. So this book is not only brilliant, is not only really cool to look at, it's also a lot of fun. This is one of the best books I'm reading right now, and this issue perfectly shows just how damn good it has been. Because my only criticism is it's been a little all over the place in setting up all these different characters, but I think, pump the brakes on it, I think they might be kind of sort of done with introducing tons of new characters that are really big deals to the story. I think they're past that phase, but I don't really care if they keep doing it some more, because every single character they've introduced has just been a really fascinating idea for how can we take this female DC character, put them in the 40s in a World War II context, make a really interesting character design for them for that time period, that fits in that time period, and is also just a really neat, cool, fresh take on the character. No one here, and let me consider how I want to put this. No one in this book is just their mainline continuity character put in the 40s. They are all still at the core in the same line of values, with, to one extent or another, most of them are in the same line of values with the characters from the mainline continuity. But they also have a nuanced take on why they have those values, given the time period in which this is set. And that's how you do a fucking Elseworlds story. That's what makes this great. This needs to be a DC animated movie. Just please make this a DC animated feature. It doesn't even have to be the main story or every single particular character has to be involved. Just do the formation of the Bombshells Justice League, the main team, and build it into a series. Just do it the first 12 issues of the books that affected those main characters. and make that. That should be plenty. Great book. Perfect book. Almost within reason. I don't want to throw that around. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to Batman Beyond, number 15. As I said, everything this week is either good or great, and that's true of this too. This is good. I've been very displeased with the direction the Batman Beyond book went, and I'm happy to see that they're reversing that now, or at least tentatively reversing that. And to use Spellbinder in a really messed up way is interesting too. We'll see how it goes as it goes on. I like this. Tim Drake almost made a good case for why he should be Batman. And it's in this exchange, like, his suit has been depowered and sabotaged. Tim, your suit's power readings are at 0. You're powerless. Hardly. I trained for years. Did the job without fancy weapons. Nothing but basics. And then he has a lead pipe. Like, he rips a lead pipe out of the ground. And that's very Tim Drake. Red Robin, so that's perfect. We'll just see how this goes as it continues on. I'm really just excited to have Terry McGinnis back in the Batman Beyond suit. That's all I really want, is Terry McGinnis back in the Beyond suit, doing Batman Beyond things. Tim has a line about how he created an alternate timeline. I'm really hoping, just hoping so much, that we wipe all this Brother Eye, Future's End crap, and just get Terry as Batman Beyond, Bruce Wayne as, like, the voice in his ear again. I know, it's like such a shit thing, just get us back to status quo, but please just get us back to status quo. Please just get us back to status quo. Or evolve it, or make it work. Jurgens, I'm sorry, I've not enjoyed your Batman Beyond run at all until you started bringing back the things that make me love Batman Beyond, and Terry McGinnis is one of those things. Better luck next time, Jurgens. Better luck next time. Hope you don't take it personally. But yeah, this is good. I'm just glad that we're at least in some way, shape, or form getting back to a proper Batman Beyond book. So, fingers crossed, we keep that up. There's a chair blocking my ability to throw comics on the floor. Bastards. Okay, moving on to Batman number 4 by Tom King. This was a hard one to read. Not because it's bad or anything, but God, this was a hard one to read. I really like the Gothams, and they're not getting to be the Gothams, it looks like. They've been brainwashed by Hugo Strange and Psycho Pirate. Oh, I don't like that. That's not okay. Oh, why? I liked them so much. Why can't I love something and have it last? Oh, this is tragic. And then there are some really kick-ass scenes in here, though. So we have General Lane talking with Amanda Waller, and he goes, "Let's be honest, Amanda, we don't actually have to worry about him. He's not going to connect this incident with us, and even if he did, this site isn't on any books. He can't find us. And even if, through a miracle he did, we're a mile below Gotham, a mile of concrete, steel, vaults, and the best security the U.S. can buy or blackmail. I got 6 blockbuster-level guys guarding just that door alone. The damn Batman isn't going to touch us. Lane, the damn Batman is behind you." "What, Miss Waller?" Batman. "I think it's time we talk." He just slams General Lane's face right into the wall, knocking him out. That's fantastic. That's just good-ass Batman writing, where it's like, it's impossible for anyone to get to us. I'm Batman. That's a great fucking scene. Oh, I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. And Gotham's on a killing spree, and that's sad, and it's hard to look at. And I'm just... it's hard to look at. This book is so bittersweet for me. Because it's damn good, but it's just like, oh... Why does it have to be good and sad? Why? Tom King, keep doing what you're doing, but just, can you not depress me while you do it, please? Okay, final single issue of the week. Grant Morrison's 18 Days, number 14. We're getting closer. So this is mainly a two-part story. We get two different stories in the two-part issue. We get two different stories in this issue. We get the story of how Indishaparata Patasha Indraprascha. It's really hard to say some of these names. We get the story of like how this war got started on his side, how he was put in a position where he has to go to war. We get some backstory, and like we show that he was tempted, led into a trap, so that the war could be started. And then we got a second story that's kind of like it was just okay. It just kind of shows how Dorihanda, however you say his name, god damn it, how he built his army, like what made them come together, and how he has monsters fighting for him and stuff like that. Hail Dorihanda, hail the Serpent King is what he's being called, because he's slithery and sly and slick. So both stories fine and good. Again, the stuff I'm liking is the stuff where we're in the war, it's happening on the battlefield. But certainly that stuff wouldn't be as good as it is if not for these backstory flashback issues. So, you know, you take the good with the interesting. It just feels kind of start-stop, but it's still a good-ass book. It's really, really cool to see the mythology of this all building together, and the motivations all crossing back and forth. This really is just like Indian Troy. Yeah, there's not much else to say about it. It's just cool. It's cool, it's interesting, it's good. It's just, I don't have much else I can really tell you. So yeah. I'm going to take a quick break, be back to talk about trades. Okay, let's go ahead and go on to Green Lantern, No Fear. God, this is good. And I'm glad to be talking about trades again. I'm sorry for such a long break, but shit is crazy over here sometimes, guys. Just goddamn. Okay, so No Fear is a book that is split up as two separate stories that don't really have too much to do with each other, except just both continuing the build-up toward Blackest Night. But they do stand on their own fairly well. We have Hal Jordan... we actually get three stories. Flight is an incredibly emotional story for me that I absolutely adore, and I think just perfectly captures who Hal Jordan as a character is, and is really worth reading just on its own at some point. I did a motion comic of that years ago. The performances aren't great, but if you'd like to check that out, somebody else uploaded it to YouTube, so I'll leave a link to that video in the description, but I did make it. You can hear my voice in it. My name's all over it. So are my friends that help me voice it and stuff. But Flight just on its own is a beautiful story, and I absolutely adore it, and I think it just perfectly captures who Hal Jordan is and what drives him as a person, and just perfectly shows you how he thinks the way he thinks and why he thinks the way he thinks. And it does a lot to inform this next story that we get into, which is called something, if I remember. I don't think the way this, it's just called No Fear. The way this is edited, it's not very well done, because they don't put covers in between the issues. But let me start, unfortunately, with a nitpick. Okay, so the Green Lantern uniform, as we should all know by this point, is not fabric. They even have a cool little conversation, because this is Jeff Johns trying to make Green Lantern just, cool and fascinating and unique. So this pilot that Hal Jordan saves goes, "Ow, the green on your uniform, it's hot. It's not fabric. And the black is cold, most of the time." Uh-huh. And so we clearly see in this that there's a scene explaining that the Green Lantern uniform is not fabric. It's a construct made by the Ring. And then we have this amazing Alex Ross cover. And Alex Ross is a beautiful fucking artist, and he will only do the costumes in their traditional sense. Here's the thing. Hal Jordan's wearing the traditional costume. But Alex Ross draws it like fabric. You can see the folds. Stop doing that. That's... Nah. Like, it wouldn't be a problem if it were literally on any other cover in the Green Lantern series. But it's on No Fear. The book where we specifically say it's not fabric that he's wearing. And so my inner nerdness is just like... and shit about that. And that... legitimately, it pisses me off. Like, come on. Not everything has to look like the movie. I still think the movie's costume is fantastic, but not everything has to look like the movie. But it is very firmly established at this point that it's not fabric. It was at one time. I will grant you that. There is a panel of a really old Hal Jordan Green Lantern comic where he shoots his ring up in the air to form a little construct, and like a green closet opens up, and he has the uniform on a hanger. It did happen. It's like a parallel dimension that he keeps the uniform in. But still, it's not that way anymore. We shouldn't continue doing it. Okay. So what happens in this first story? We get a lot of background on Hal Jordan, and we had that in Secret Origin, of course. But we get a lot more background on Hal Jordan and how he got to the point he was before the whole Green Lantern or Parallax thing happened. And now he's kind of trying to return in some ways to that point in his life. The government, this is also where we start to set up the Coast City initiative. The government has rebuilt Coast City from the ground up, and is offering all kinds of incentives for people to move there, but it's a ghost town. No one wants to move there. There's a pun about it, like you hear radio announcers at different points and newscasters and stuff saying things like, no one wants to move to Ghost City. And you even have Hal Jordan's brother come visit him, because this is the first time that he's seen him since the whole Parallax thing went down. You have him come visit him, and he's like, "You should move to Coast City. We need to show people that we don't have to live in fear of what might happen. This is like a big symbolic thing." And he's like, "Now some other supervillain's just gonna wipe it off the map. You don't have to be here doing this whole superhero thing. You can escape it all. Just come live out in Sacramento with me and the kids, You can get a job as like an airplane mechanic or something. You don't have to do this kind of work. You don't have to put yourself out there and risk your life. And Hal's whole point is, no, you do have to. You have to show everyone what it means to do the right thing, what it means to not be afraid. And then there's some Manhunter stuff in here that's kind of cool too, but it's really not the part of the story that I like. And you get, like, Hal's brother's character arc in this story is fantastic. We get a military guy, colonel or whatever, who's being set up as, like, Hal Jordan's Commissioner Gordon. I don't really feel one way or the other about that. It's kind of obvious and silly, but what can you do? Insurance Salesman of the Year, Jim Jordan. His brother's an insurance salesman. That's good writing. That's really good writing for a character like this. I've often wondered what insurance is like in superhero universes. Oh wow, they put a lot of detail into this scene. There's just this one panel with all these details. There's a plaque on the wall that says Insurance Salesman of the Year, Jim Jordan. There's some books on the table. How to Protect Your Children from the Media. The Something of Life in a Superhero Community. The Risks of Life in a Superhero Community. And 100 Things to Make You Safer. Are just books he has lying on the table. So we have a character who is the complete opposite of his brother and lives his entire life just surrounded about the fear of what might happen, to the point it is choking his ability to live in the moment. And so he's having this conversation with his family. It's too dangerous. How many times do I have to tell him, Susan? No football. Howard, he loves it. Howard loves it, Jim. When he's 18, he can do what he wants. You can't protect the kids by having them stay inside all day. Yeah, all the other kids get to play. Some of them with their dads. And his daughter, I want to watch cartoons. They're too violent, honey. Why don't you both go read a... And then we have the news kind of interrupt this little home scene. More reports that the Green Lantern has returned to Coast City. Despite this, or perhaps because of it, most analysts expect that without the influx of people Congress was hoping for, construction will be halted by Friday, and Ghost City will be just that. And Jim's wife looks at him and says, your brother's still trying. And then we get some more Manhunter fight stuff, and Hal's ring is completely depleted because of the Manhunter's new ability to absorb Green Lantern power. And this is one of the cool scenes in the book, too. The Manhunter wrecks the plane jet that Hal's in, and his power level is completely drained at that point. He has no ability to fly, and the jet is now crashing. And he goes, believe it or not, I still got a plan. And he jumps out of the plane. Or no, he goes, come on, Jordan, keep her steady. Hal jumps out of the plane as it explodes. Says the oath as he falls towards the Manhunter that drained all his ring energy. And sticks his fist in the thing's face as he finishes the oath to regain his charge on his ring, and then saves Coast City from a exploding self-destruction Manhunter. That's a really cool scene. But again, not my favorite thing about this book. There's another cool, fun scene where Hal admits that he's made mistakes and that he needs to take responsibility for them. It doesn't matter what his reasons were or what factors were changing it. Great stuff there, too. But what I really, really love about this is him looking at Ghost City as the book ends, or as the chapter ends. This might have been a mistake, all of it. That Manhunter's last words are still stuck in my head. It lived for over 3 billion years, and it never felt a damn shred of emotion. And then, in its last moment of existence, it finally figures one out. I look around today at the way we live. We're arming security systems, putting metal detectors in schools, and looking over our shoulders on airplanes. The news shouts, tonight at 11, find out which major drug company could make you sick. Is this the life I'm coming back to? Is this the strongest emotion in the universe? Is fear what controls everyone and everything? And then he sees Jim moving to town with his family. Yeah, I didn't think so. And we end on this great panel of Hal flying over his brother and his family's car as the Green Lantern. Fantastic ending of a story arc, and then we get teased for later stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then the second story in this, I do like. It's kind of just John's getting to do something that... I guess my biggest criticism of John's is... No, it's definitely my biggest criticism, is that he got too drawn into setting up for the next story, that he didn't give enough time to just breathe for a bit and tell some just individual one-off fun stories. And this has setup in it for Black Hand, but it's also got some just fun, cool, wacky sci-fi one-offness in it. The main villain of this story are the gremlins from back in the day. There were the legends of, like, airline pilots seeing gremlins on the wings of their planes, or that were, like, taking it apart or whatever, messing with the planes. Yeah, those are the villains of this story arc. Why not? It's fucking cool. They apparently mess with primitive technology and biology to make them to make themselves weapons to sell on the intergalactic black market. Love it. So these two army base guys hit an alien that looks like the most quintessential alien possible, you know, big round head, big eyes, that whole thing, super skinny everywhere else. They hit it on the side of the road, and its last words as it dies are, "I just went out for a smoke." And they're like, what? So they're doing an autopsy on the thing, and the coroner goes, "He did say some words in English to the driver." What? It's really silly. What did he say? He said he went out for a cigarette. He went out for a... Ring, analyze DNA structure. Scanning. Scan complete. Target terrestrial in origin. Homo sapien pastoris 50 cycles. What's that mean? It means that this isn't an alien body. It's human. About 50,000 years further down the evolutionary chain than us. What, you're saying it's from the future? I don't think so. And then we get some Hector Hammond stuff. They make Hector Hammond so damn creepy in this book. Just so damn creepy. Get some Hector Hammond stuff. And then there's another just really cool ass scene where we got... It's basically Jaws. Oh shit. It's seriously basically Jaws though. You got two people out swimming in the water. Only the guy goes under, and the woman's like, oh my god, and she swims to shore as the shark chases her. And then she's like, she gets onto the beach and she goes, I'm safe. And then like an eyeball just drops on her shoulder. She's got this look of absolute terror on her face as she looks at it. And then we get this guy. That's just cool. It's a shark that can walk on land and stuff. That's just clever, fun stuff. It's just John's having fun and doing a lot of cool stuff. We get the origin of Black Hand's hand in this issue, too. Really just a cool book. I really quite enjoy it. There's a fight with Hal and the shark. Black Hand does his thing, the gremlins show up. It's kind of all over the place, but in a fun way. Biggest complaint I have about this story arc is we just have the most drastic, distracting change in art style. So, it's kind of got its very particular art style, kind of more, not really realistic, colored in a very particular way. And then the last issue is just a completely different style that is hyper-realistic and colored and lit in a very specific, interesting, almost creepy way. And it kind of works for the creepiness of where they are, but not at all when it's that drastic a change in the story. And the art just doesn't fit with what's going on. That is the biggest problem of this second arc. It's not only distracting, it just doesn't work for it. I would have, for the fact that everything is now written for trade, we should put more of an emphasis on having one artist per story arc than we do on making sure the issue is out on time the next month. If you're gonna write for trade in such a specific way as this is, you should really focus more on that. And there's also a little bit of fun. Why were these, like, Hal defeats them, and he takes the gremlins to some other Green Lanterns that are from a neighboring space sector to take them back home and, face trial there. And he goes, "Why were these things in you two? Why are you speaking German?" "German? That's Krolotian. What, you think Egypt is the only place on that mudball that stole their language from off-world? Next you'll be telling us the Earthmen invented the match." Bye. And bye forever to those characters, because those two never show up again. What can you do? Yeah, I don't know. I really like that stuff. It's just cool. It's a fun book. There's not, like, a ton of deep going on outside of Jim's character arc. Just general fear of everything is kind of Jim's thing. And there's some cool-ass covers, too. I like covers. Fear of everything is kind of Jim's, like, defining character arc. And so to have him be inspired by Hal to get over that and go try to be a symbol, try to act in such a way that is fundamentally healthy is really good. Yeah. Really good book. Some of the most fun, just randomness in the Johns run in No Fear. And again, Flight is just an incredibly touching story for me. I think it perfectly sums up who Hal Jordan is and why he acts the way he does. I'm not crazy about the Manhunter stuff, but I thought it was fine. It makes sense to reintroduce them and make them more of a threat, show that they are, like, they're evolving along with the Green Lantern Corps. They're not just static, so that's fine. Again, biggest problem is just the art shift in the last issue, but, that's kind of just a problem for a lot of comics, and so it's more of a critique of the industry than it is of this particular book itself. But it is still a problem in it, so I wanted to mention that. Anyway, that will do it for this week's episode of Comic Reviews. If you, dear viewer, have any single issues that are coming out that you'd like me to pick up and talk about, please leave those in the comment below. I will do my best to get a hold of it and talk about at least one issue, and if I like it enough, I'll put it on my review list, or my pull list. If you have suggestions for trades or graphic novels you'd like me to talk about, please leave those in the comments below as well, and I will do my very best to get a hold of them. I'll definitely keep my eyes out for them, and I'll talk about them on this show if I get the chance. Alright, thank you for watching. Until next time.